Oh, what a wild, what a wild time for Devin White.
Come on.
I mean, oh my goodness. And we'll end the stream with this, but you know what, Billy? I'm gonna be honest. I came on here. We both did, and we said Devin White is not gonna play another snap for the Bucs. Right? He's cooked. He's cooked. And then he came out and he proved us wrong. He sure did. My goodness, that was quite a game. Is he back? Is the question, Billy? Is Devin White back? He had a sack and a half. He had a not very fair penalty in my opinion on roughing the quarterback. I thought that was a ridiculous penalty.
Yeah.
He had an interception, almost had another interception. I mean, what happened here, man?
Well, if the question is Devin White back, then my answer is no.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that because is he back with the Bucs in terms of is he going to re-sign? I still think the answer is no, and some people may disagree with that. But to clarify, is good Devin White finally going to make an appearance? You
Oh,
know,
so the
that
question.
Devin White that we saw in 2020
Sure.
in the playoffs, that Devin White that we've seen play great in the past. That is what I am talking about. Not necessarily referring a re-signing, more so referring to his overall play.
Sure. I will say no still.
Oh, okay.
But he did play very well. Like you said, half sack and an interception. Um, yeah, no, Devin White played really well. It was very impressive. It was nice to see. Um, it's a good story. I think the buried gem of a story that nobody wants, like the buried seed of a story that nobody wants to talk about here is Todd Bowles. That's where I come away from the Devin White story with. Todd Bowles is a very just the disapproval rate. Todd Bowles' disapproval rating, if he were a politician, is through the roof. There is nobody who's walking around with a "We Love Todd Bowles" t-shirt. But Todd Bowles got to get credit for this. He benched a player who was not performing. And we're talking about a player. This is not just a guy. He benched a player, a star player who was underperforming. That player then came back after the benching and performed at a high level. That's coaching. And it's nice to see. Frankly, it's kind of shocking, but that doesn't take away from how impressive it is. That is a big credit to Todd Bowles. I think he's had a couple of really nice bright spots since he's been the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach, and this, in my mind, will live on as probably the brightest.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I would say like the stretch that he's on, right, has made me question where the heck has this Todd Bowles been?
Yeah.
Right, the four-game win streak, the saying, "Hey, Devin, we were gonna bench you for KJ Britt," and then Devin kind of pulling a little bit of what's going on here, guys, and then Todd said, "I'm gonna show you what's going on.
Yep.
You ain't playing. That's what's going on." And then to say, and look, we don't know what happened after that. Maybe Devin White and Todd had a pretty frank conversation where Todd maybe said, look, this is just me putting words out here, okay? Don't take this as a report or anything. I don't have sources on any of this.
It's hypothetical.
A hypothetical. Let's just say hypothetically, Todd sat Devin down and said, "How do you want to do this?" A la Bruce Arians and Leonard Fournette. And Todd said, "Bro, we'll bench you the whole year. We like KJ Britt. KJ Britt's playing pretty good. How do you want to do this? Do you want another chance to go out there and showcase what you're gonna, to try and rebound, or do you not want to play the rest of the year because of your foot injury? How do you want to do this?" And Devin said, maybe hypothetically, Devin said, "No, no, I want to go out there. Let's play." He went out there and he crushed it. Now, I see the chat going, and the chat's saying, "Hey, Devin's basically auditioning for another team at this point." I still think that's the case. I don't think
100%.
Devin White is going to convince the Bucs to give him 20 million per year with 2 games left to play based on how the rest of this year has been. And that isn't to say, look, cool for Devin White for putting up some good numbers, right? That's great. Happy for the guy. Maybe he'll earn himself some money from another team. I still think the bridge has been burned with the Bucs, so to speak, unless Devin White's contract demands go down. I just think that that ship has sailed, so to speak. But I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Devin came back in this situation, which talk about backs against the wall. Devin's back was against the wall, right?
Yes.
And he
Yes.
went out there and he played out of his mind. And I'm going to give him credit for that. That's great, right? And that's the Devin White that everybody's been wanting to see, Billy. Has been wanting to see. Where has this Devin White been all year? And some people are going to say, well, the foot injury, he's been banged up all year. Folks, people are banged up the entire year. It just
Chris
happens.
Godwin,
It's
Chris
football
Godwin, and Peter Vea are on the injury report every single week.
every single week. Gosh,
Every,
like the corners are on the injury report every single week.
every,
Baker's
every.
been banged up this year. Just everybody. Look, it's the NFL. Guys are going to be hurt, and guys probably all have foot injuries and whatever else is going on. It's not, it's just tough, man. It's a tough sport. Guys are going to get hurt, but you play through the injuries, and that shouldn't be the ultimate reason, right?
Yeah, this is a topic we get on a good deal. So I feel like you and if we have people who tune in consistently know how I feel on it. It's not that Devin White struggled this year because yeah, people get hurt and they struggle. That's fine. Even if we took it back to his first interception of the season, because you just talked about his second this past week, but his first interception of the season against the Eagles, he couldn't run. Remember, he just walked out of bounds. He got the ball and he couldn't run because of his groin, right? I respect that people play through injuries and it's going to hamper their production. With Devin White, my biggest issue has always been effort. Okay. You can always control your effort. You don't have to make every play, but can you be trying to make every play? Is that too much to ask? That to me, and especially when effort is not something that was an issue for Devin White in the past and has now become an issue in the present, that was always my issue. He's an incredibly talented guy. I do think the bridge is burned, and I wish him nothing but the best. I do think he'll get paid by someone else. But to me, it's just an effort thing. That's what's always been unsettling to me about Devin White. And now after the benching, you see him play with effort, and look at the results. Devin White was flying around the field, blitzing the quarterback, making plays. He looked tremendous. He played with effort. It's not.
I do wonder if that's going to be a wake up call for Devin White because I don't think Devin White's ever had a situation in his football career where a coach has said, "Nah, man, you ain't playing." You know, he was a number 5 overall pick. He's been a starter every single game, every single year for the Bucs when he's been healthy. Devin White's never been benched before in his life, as far as I know. Maybe he had some, at least in his you know, LSU, he was a star. In high school, he was a star. And I don't know if Devin White has ever had a humbling situation like this before.
We
Right.
talked about this when we were talking about on the other stream where we were talking about like how he handled the original situation and how poorly he handled it. And the only justification I could make for it was you're talking about a guy who has never been told you're not good enough.
Yeah, and look, Devin White's still a young, yeah, and he's still a
Yes.
young guy. He's still only 25 years old, right? So again, for a young man to his entire life to be the guy, right? To have this year be such a tumultuous year, a year where a lot of things have been just, going after it for him. And then for it to really boil over and peak with that, I do wonder if that is something that is like, oh, wait a minute kind of moment, right? A realization moment, a come to Jesus moment, so to speak, where it's like, oh, I could get benched kind of moment. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, and I would hope, best case scenario, that you're right, and exactly the same thing happened with Leonard Fournette. Like I think you made it. That was an awesome comparison when Bruce sat down Leonard and said, "Look, if you want to pout, I'll gladly cut you. You can pout, or you could maybe think about this big picture. It's probably not a good look if you sit and pout." And I think Todd Bowles, being the protege, you're talking about a mentor-mentee relationship between those two guys, saw Bruce do that, saw the success it had, maybe called Bruce up, went and spoke to him. What do you think? Should I approach this the same way? Could have definitely sat down Devin White and said, look, whatever happens this year, it doesn't even, doesn't matter necessarily beyond the scope of you're going to be a free agent and nobody's going to want this Devin White. They're going to want the old Devin White. So can you bring that guy back for 3 games?
Yeah, and like even to say like, dude, like stop focusing on the off season, stop
Right.
focusing on this contract. We have 3 games left to play. If you
Right.
want some money and you want to make a statement, go out and make that statement.
100%. And it's almost like if you're not going to do it for your team or do it for me, then do it for yourself. Like
Yeah.
you're fighting for money in your bank account. So the heck with everything else. If you can't be motivated to do it for Levante David, Mike Evans, and all the guys around you, then go ahead and do it for you. Because you know the only thing that, you know, might come out of this year for Devin White, assuming the Buccaneers don't go on a crazy run and win the Super Bowl, is a bigger contract if he plays well. So go do it for you.
Yeah. I agree 100%, man. I agree 100%. So we'll see. I mean, hey, Devin White, 2 games left to go, man. Maybe he'll make himself some money. Maybe he's been humbled. I don't know, Billy. I don't know. It's interesting, though.